Hi everyone, my name is Georgette Truen. I work for attorney Vincent Davis and I am the host of Fight CPS with Ms. G. Miss Stacy is working today at the hospital, so she cannot make it. But I'm thinking about her. I love her and I miss her so much. I want to discuss evidence today. Okay. When you guys collect evidence, um, such as notes and all that, make like a journal, notes, or what have you, you need to keep in mind that if for example, if the social worker sends you a text message, okay, and you take a screenshot of that text message, now that text message screenshot have to show the number of that social worker, the phone number that you're using of that social worker. That's going to be very important for you to keep better notes and better track as evidence. I've had a couple of people that send me screenshots of text messages between them and the social worker, and they want to sue the department and what have you. But then when I asked, where does it show that it's actually from the social worker? They can't answer that. A couple of people also addressed to me that the emails that the social worker sends you guys emails, that's really giving you the wrong information that will go against them. But then when you guys go back to look at that email, you cannot print it, you cannot view it again. It only allows you to view it one time, and you cannot print that email. I don't know if that's true or not. I'm just going by what I hear from other people. Okay, other people tell me, Ms. G, the social worker sent me an email. I took a screenshot of it, like from her phone, but it didn't show the sender's information. It didn't show any other information. So you can't use that as evidence. Other people say that you guys are told you cannot get your court files. That is not true. You can get your court files. You have to take your ID with you to court, and you have to make sure it's a valid ID, driver license, California ID, or whatever, your state ID, and then go and request that file. Okay, you might have to pay money. I'm not sure about other states, but you might have to pay a fee. You're going to have to check that out. But again, make sure that you get transcripts. Transcripts are important. Without the transcripts and highlighting what the judge said or what the social worker said that will hold them accountable, in a lawsuit, that's very important. You have to collect the right evidence. That's extremely important. When the social worker, like when you go to the court at a detention hearing, for example, and it's your first hearing, you will not meet your court appointed attorney until that day. Like a few minutes, some people say 10 minutes before the hearing, some people say 5 minutes before the hearing. Some people even told me like 2 minutes before the hearing. However, when you do meet that court-appointed attorney, first thing is going to come out of his mouth or her mouth is that his recommendation or her recommendation is to listen to the social worker, sign the safety plan, etc., etc. We, in our office, Attorney Davis always says, do not sign anything without having your attorney present. But that attorney is telling you to do it. But you have to understand what a safety plan is. A safety plan is giving them full jurisdiction over you and your children. They can easily say, this is what you need to do, drug testing every day. You need to do domestic violence classes. You need to do rehab. You need all kinds of stuff, right? Now, that attorney is telling you to go ahead and sign it. But you're going to be under their control, and everything you've done, your classes, your this, your that, then they're going to come back to the judge and say, Your Honor, the mother didn't do her classes. She didn't finish her classes. Even if you have a certificate stating completed, they can say whatever they want to say. If your attorney does not right, does not address that in court, meaning file, submit the evidence in court as, hey, Your Honor, my client did indeed finish her classes, and here is the certificate for completion. You can come back again, right, after all said and done, and appeal it. Because if something was not addressed into court, you can't appeal. I had to explain this today like 100 times. If you did not, your attorney or you did not submit something into evidence in the court during your hearings, you can't appeal it. You can only appeal, and I'm going to repeat, you can only appeal what was shared in the court hearings, meaning whatever the attorney submitted into court, that's what you can appeal. Okay? That's why collecting evidence and having paper trace is very important. But again, to have paper trace, you have to make sure that you include, it shows the phone number of that social worker that texted you. So my suggestion is this: save the social worker's number where her name is, the first name. You know how your phone says first name, second name? I mean, first name, last name. On the first line, put the social worker's full name and put her title. On the second line, on the first line, put the phone number, the social worker's information, name, and title. So make sure the number shows first. And the second line, you put if she's a supervisor or she's an investigative social worker, whatever the case may be. Make sure that when you take the screenshot of a text message, it shows the social worker's phone number. Because I had a person, a mother I was speaking with today. She's a sweetheart. I love her so much. She got a hold of me after 2 years, and she emailed me really good evidence, extremely great evidence, but it doesn't have the information that's needed, meaning anybody can take a screenshot of something, a text message, and they can easily say it's from the social worker. But what proof does the court have that it's from the social worker, right? If you really think about it, it doesn't show a phone number. It doesn't show anything. It just shows a text message. If the text message is long, you always take the first text message from the top, make sure it includes the phone number. Remember, I told you save the social worker's information under phone number where the first name is, put phone number. And then next to the phone number, you put the title or the name, or you can put it on the second line where it says last name. Then you take the first screenshot and you make sure it's lined correctly, and then the second one and the third one if you have a long text. But again, you need to prove that it is indeed from that social worker. Okay. Also, if that social worker gives you a business card, that's perfect. That's also another evidence you need to put along with your exhibits. The business card of the social worker would look similar like mine. Let me show you. Okay, so this is my business card. You see that? It has my title, address, Mr. Davis's name, all that, fax number, all that, right? So the social worker will give you a card like this. That's when you take a snapshot of that card and you attach that to your evidence, because that shows her number, right? So you need to attach that to your evidence, to your exhibits. Okay. Make sure that you do everything in order. For example, today is your detention hearing. Let's focus on the detention hearing. On the detention hearing, in the detention hearing, you meet your attorney for the first time. Now, after you go meet the judge, you can either ask the judge for an extension. That extension is to let the judge know, hey, Your Honor, I would like to get an extension because I would like to hire my own attorney. I don't want to go for the court-appointed attorney, as an example. Now, that judge it depends on the judge. That judge can give you an extension for 24 hours. That judge can give you an extension for a day, 4 days, 5 days. It doesn't, we don't know. We have no idea. Either way, if you indeed going to do that, make sure that you do have an attorney lined up and you are going to hire that attorney. Because if you come back after that extension and you can't find an attorney, it doesn't look good for you. Okay? Faith said, can they recite trial testimony in memo to courts? I cannot answer that question, Faith. That question is for Attorney Davis. I will refer that question to him. In fact, hold on, let me text him. Okay, I texted him. When he responds, I'll let you know. If you guys have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask them. I do, however, always send the questions to Attorney Davis and he will respond. It would be best for you guys to get a hold of me at the 888 number that you guys see on the screen and ask for me. Or you can text me at 626-631-8901 and address your question and your full name, and I will ask Attorney Davis for you guys, okay? Or email me at gat@vincentwdavis.com. Email me your question, your full name, and your cell number, and I will address it to Attorney Davis myself as well, okay? Either way, you can get a hold of me. I will address whatever I can do to be able to direct you guys in the right direction, to send, lead you guys in the right way. Because the most important thing, and like I tell everyone today on the phone, the most important thing is the children. It's not so much about the adults. You guys are adults. You guys are parents. I understand that part. But the child suffers more than you could ever process. Being away from mom, being away from dad, being away from grandma, grandpa, whatever the case may be. The child wants their parents all the time. Even an infant. An infant knows his mother. Infant knows who their mom is. Once an infant cries and you put a mother next to the infant, they stop crying. Why? Because they know her heartbeat, they know how she smells, they know everything about their mom. They just don't verbalize it, but they know. So a child always needs their parents. If they have good parents, if they have abusive parents, then of course the child needs to stay away from them. Okay? And hopefully they will find a good home, safe home for these children, right? But we're not focused on the bad parents. When I speak of the great parents that I know, that I speak to on a day-to-day basis. None of you guys, literally none of you called me who are not worthy to be a parent. Everyone I spoke with are great, are amazing. All they care about is their children and what they want to do what's best for them. I have a dad that called me today and he said, ma'am, he said, I watched your show 2 weeks ago. And he said to me, he said, I want what's best for my daughter. And if what's best for my daughter to be away from me, I'm okay with that. And I asked him a few questions. I said, did you beat your daughter? Did you starve your daughter to death? Did you do? He said, no, ma'am, never done any of that. I said, then why would you say it's best for you? If it's best for your daughter to stay away from you, then as long as they find a good home for her, that you'll be okay with that. He said, because I don't want to put her through more pain, right? She's only 3 years old and he doesn't think he's going to get her back. And because the social worker told him he's going to lose his parental rights. Now, I want you guys to understand that the social worker will always tell you you're going to lose your parental rights. That's their recommendation. If you don't have the right attorney, you will lose your parental rights. Even though the social workers act like the judge and the jury and God on earth, they're shit. They mean nothing. they mean absolutely nothing. Okay? So understand this. Sorry. Understand this. Anything, anything that will help your case, you need to always email it to your court appointed attorney with screenshots. Remember, I told you earlier, make sure the phone number shows of the social worker. Anything the social worker tells you, you have to include it with the email. Now, if you don't have that, then you can speak of later on your case, right? You can't say, Your Honor, I send an email to my attorney on December 23rd, 2023, and blah, 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 blah. And you have nothing to show. You have literally nothing to show. Or, Your Honor, I told my attorney, nope, you have to have evidence. Good evidence is better for you. Now, Joan said, is it harder for them to TPR if you are married? No, I can answer that question because Attorney Davis answered that question a month ago. It's not harder for them to TPR you if you are married. In the state courts, you are separated. You're not as one, right? You're not together. You're different. You, the mother, separate, and that's why they give you guys separate attorneys. So it doesn't matter to them. One TPR, most likely the other parent is TPR'd as well. And once the parent is TPR'd, then the family of the parents are also TPR'd, meaning no one in the side of that family can ever be with the baby or the child. I hope I answered your question, John. Keep in mind, everything you need to do with the social worker or the court appointed attorneys has to be in writing. Now, let's move on to the other steps. Once the social worker, for example, doing your visits, if the social worker asks you a question, and I know this happens a lot, the social worker would say things like, doing your visit with your child, the social worker would say things like, Miss So and so, I see that you're good with the children. I'm not understanding why you're here. Right away, a parent will be like, oh, she's on my side. She sees that I'm a good parent. Well, let me tell you why I'm here. Because my ex-husband is a deadbeat, blah, blah, blah. Because my baby's daddy is blah, 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 blah. And you start talking, giving so much information, thinking she's your pal. Don't do that. Because in the court, in the notes, the social worker is going to write the following. Mother was not paying attention to the children. Mother was focused more on me than the children. There is no bond between mother and child. You understand? So everything that you do in front of them, or if you give in to them because they pulled you in by saying something to you that led you to think that way, it's not good for you. When you're on a visit with your child or children, if the social worker opens her mouth or his mouth to ask you a question, politely, I'm not saying be aggressive, politely say, I am so sorry. I am focused on my kids right now. If you have any questions, we will address it after the visit. Doesn't that sound better? What could he or she say? In some states, it's only one party consent, so you can record them. I know that when you go to a visit, especially in the CPS facility, they don't let you turn on your phone and all that. Get a freaking camera on a pen from Amazon and get a separate flash drive for it that can carry memory, that can carry more hours. If your visit is 3 hours, make sure that you have enough for those 3 hours. You have to do everything you can to back yourself up. If it's a two-party consent state, you have to ask the other person for consent to record them. When you're in a public place, I was told by the attorneys that you can record because it's in a public setting. If you're in their, you know, their setting, indoors, you have to ask for permission if it's a two-party consent state. That is very important. Um, but let's go back to evidence again. Make sure that you collect them correctly. You guys have great evidence. I've seen most of them. But I want you guys to understand with that, showing the name and the phone number, meaning phone number first, because when you save the social worker's information, it does not show the phone number when you take screenshots of the text messages. It only shows the worker's name. You can save any number under the worker's name, right? That's how the court evaluates it. Like, how do we know? How do we know that Miss Carla from Department of Children and Family Services in Kansas City wrote this to you? What proof do you have? Right? You guys have good evidence. You just didn't think about to perfect it before you know before taking screenshots. Um, John said in California, a two-party consent state. Yes, in California, it's a two-party consent state. If, for example, if you record me and I don't consent to it, I can sue you. I can press charges against you. Mr. Davis said it's jail time. Okay, so again, it's a two-party consent state. I don't know again about other states, but some say that other states is just one party state, meaning you can record them. You don't need their permission. Okay. So again, evidence. If you guys are taking pictures of bruises or a dog bite on a 4-year-old's lip while they were in CPS custody, make sure that the picture you're taking shows the date and the time of the picture. Date and time. So I'm going to take a picture, right? I'm just going to take a picture. Here we go. I never really even noticed that if it shows or not. So I'm going to look at my snapshot. Nope. On the top, you see that? So on the top, right here, oops, damn it. I don't know if you guys can see it. No, you guys cannot see it. Anyways, it's on the top right here. Right here. On the top, it shows the date and the time. There are some free phones that you guys have, Obama phones that I was told doesn't show the actual date and time of the snapshot, right? So there was one case where the mom said to me and the dad that they showed their attorney the picture of the bite. So the dog bite, it was on her child's shoulder and the side of her mouth, and it didn't show the date and time on it. So the social worker said, that's how we got the child from the home. That's why we removed the child from the home. They denied that that child was bitten while they're in their custody. That's why I said good evidence is very important for you guys to pay attention to how to collect them. Okay. If you get verbal consent, how do you prove that? Can you be a little bit more specific, John? Or if you want to be on the show, you're more than welcome. I can send you the link right now, but um, I need a little bit more information. And remember, guys, any verbal consent, I could, anyone that, for example, if somebody give you a verbal consent to record them, where proof do you have, right? So, for example, if you're on the phone with this person, right, and then you say, "Hey, Miss So and So, I am recording you. Do I get your consent?" And Miss So and So says, "Yes, you can." You have to get that consent while you are asking her. Meaning you have to record it while you are asking her. It has to be recorded because, yeah, like I said, John, you have to, while you're asking her for a verbal consent, I mean, while you're asking her to record her and she said yes, then guess what? That has to show in the recording that she actually said yes and she gave consent to that. Okay. Now, oftentimes, if you have a court appointed attorney, that court appointed attorney would say to you, that's not good enough evidence. I can't submit that into court. Why? Why? Right? So the only explanation I have is that he doesn't want to bite the hand that feeds him. Their loyalty is not to their clients. And I would say that to any court appointed attorney to their face. The loyalty is not with the clients because they're very limited at what they can do. And for an attorney to say he or she will not submit evidence, especially if they're good evidence that shows the date, the time, the consent, all that, it's crazy to me. Unless your case is so far gone, meaning you're losing your reunification services, all that stuff, all this evidence has to be addressed prior 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 to all this. If you have new evidence during your trial, for example, then your attorney have to speak of it that day, meaning, hey, your honor, we have new evidence that just came in, and then that attorney has copies and that attorney will give it to all parties involved. Okay, now the judge, depends on the judge. I don't know what the judge would say, but I have seen Attorney Davis hearings like this multiple times that I've been with him. So that's important for you guys to also remember. You have to pick the right attorney. Today, I have addressed to everyone that you have to look for a CPS defense attorney. I say this every time I am doing the shows. It is so important for you to make sure that attorney is a CPS defense attorney. Very important. I also want to address something else, and I know I'm like trying to cover everything because I spoke to so many different people today about their case. Grandparents, please, I am emphasizing, I can't emphasize enough to you how important it is for you not to trust the social workers. They are not for the children. And don't give the parents wrong advice. Everyone I spoke with today, 35% of them said the same thing. My mom said, just listen to the social worker. They know what they're doing. They just want what's best interest for the children. No. Because see, grandma doesn't know that the social workers are getting paid so much money having placement of their grandchildren. Also, the grandparents are not aware that oftentimes, 100% of the time actually, they will tell you guys to be certified as social worker. I mean, as foster license, so you can have placement of your grandchildren. What you guys don't understand is that when you have a foster license with them, they can also control you. They control you major ways. And believe me, we have foster parents that come to hire us. They can turn against you like that. And then you would lose your license. Then you would lose your grandkids. John said, court-appointed attorney has same power as any paid attorney. It should be illegal for them not to exercise the same motion and arguments. Well, I don't agree with you, and let me explain why. If you research your court-appointed attorney, oftentimes you will see that that attorney came from immigration law, or that attorney came from criminal law, or that attorney came from whatever other law. you have to have a CPS defense attorney that understands state jurisdiction laws. Okay? The reason they give you guys attorneys like that is because they don't want the attorneys to really be knowledgeable. They want the attorneys to follow their guidelines. And I've told you guys before, they set rules in place to violate every parent's rights. Because that court, that county, have their own rules that violates your rights. It even violates, it's so weird. If you look at their rule book and CPS rule book, they violate their own book. They don't even follow their own freaking guidelines. You understand? It's so important to make sure that the attorney that you're hiring is a CPS defense attorney, right? That's been doing it for years and years. And it's not so much how many years he's been an attorney or she's been an attorney, is how many years has he dedicated or she dedicated fighting CPS. Because what you guys don't understand, the same attorneys that's appointed to you are the same attorneys that actually get a seat on the bench to be judges for state. So the same scumbags that didn't do anything for your case are looking to be judges. And you will see your court-appointed attorney a judge. Believe me. And that's why they don't go against the state or the county, because they want to be on that seat. There's so much you guys are not aware about CPS. And I hope to God that you literally get informed first from a law firm. Do not call a family law attorney or a criminal attorney or this attorney, immigration attorney, and ask questions pertaining to CPS, because the only advice they'll give you is what they think they know. I have an attorney that's an immigration attorney. Our client that hired us today said, Ms. G, that's his name, that's his phone number, that's his address. He said via email, that's what I should be doing. And I said, but that's wrong. That's so wrong. I don't understand why an attorney who's not qualified answers questions, misleading parents, right? That's just wrong. So from the get-go, research. Now, oftentimes you guys might think you know the law because Google said so. But Google, what information does Google have? Is whatever information people put in there. I mean, whoever does it. That doesn't necessarily mean it's the right information. I'm not big on Google because there's a lot of stuff on Google that I saw with my own eyes that contradicts what the law is. Right? There's so much. I would rather you guys go to the law library, right? And ask questions there rather than ask Google. Because the first thing they would say, okay, get this book. It's in page 425. It's in there. You'll find the answer. That's how you make sure you have the right information. And I'm so sorry. A lot of people swear by Google this, do that. It's not, it really isn't that great. So same thing with your court appointed, with any attorney you speak with. If he or she is not a CPS defense attorney, you're wasting your time. Okay? If your attorney is not doing the right thing, a court appointed attorney is not doing the right thing in the beginning, you will know when he or she says, sign the safety plan. When he or she says, you can go to the CFT meeting with the social workers and speak to them. But can you be with me, Mr. So-and-so or Miss So-and-so? You don't have to. I don't have to be there. That's not true. I had a CFT meeting that I had to schedule for Attorney Davis and one of our clients. He told the client via text, group text between me, him, and the client, do not go to that CFT meeting. I will contact the social worker. The social worker then, I guess, notified their attorney. Their attorney contacted Davis, and he said he will not allow his client to be at that meeting without him, meaning if I can't make it, but I will be on the phone, right? So we were all on the phone, and Attorney Davis kept saying to the client, I mean, to the social worker, I object. My client, do not answer that. My client will not answer that. My client will not answer that because he knows what questions they ask you, or what, how they kind of like trick you, right? They're certified criminals. I call social workers criminals because they use their badge and act like they're above the freaking law. And I'm so tired of public government official acting like they're above the law. No one should be above the law. So Attorney Davis will object, whatever the case may be. Now, if Attorney Davis sees that his client can answer that one question, it's usually how many, you know, adult children you have, or whatever, something stupid like that. She will answer. But any other questions, I've literally seen him and heard him objecting to, because he knows what's going to help you and what's not going to help you. So that's how you know. If your attorney didn't want to set up a CFT meeting with, you know, with them and you, then you should ask your attorney, hey, can I speak to your supervisor? That attorney always has, unless he or she is the owner of the law firm, that's different. But if they work in a law firm, like under Mr. Davis's name, for example, ask them, you know, hey, I need to speak to Attorney Davis, because Attorney Davis mentioned that to you guys many times on the shows. Do not, do not speak to them without your attorney, because they will mislead you, and they will trick you, and they will write the wrong answers, always falsifying, literally falsifying information. I have seen and heard, it's in a different state. The mother recorded the whole CFT meeting. She had me listen to it. It was like an hour. I listened to it. And then by the time I was done listening, it was like almost 11 o'clock p.m. at night. It was only like an hour and 10 minutes. I read what they said the client said in the CFT meeting. Whether they wrote what the client said in the CFT meeting. I am not exaggerating this, guys. They were wrong 100% of what the client said. Meaning they literally fabricated 100% of the client's answers. They added things in there the client never said. So, again, this is why it's important for your attorney to be present in that hearing. If your attorney is a court-appointed attorney, in writing, via email or text, request that they be present via phone. If they can't make it in person, request that. If they email you back and say, I will be there, and they're not there, then you tell the social workers, we need to postpone this meeting because my attorney said he or she is going to be here in writing, and he or she didn't show up. Now that social worker or the whatever in the meeting will convince you that your attorney doesn't need to be here. Do not listen to that. Please do not listen to that. So keep that in mind. Alicia said, I like this. Oh, thank you, Alicia. Thank you very much, ma'am. Alicia also added, always bias and fabrication. During my case, my rights were terminated in 2021. I am besides myself, to say the least. I am so sorry. But if I may ask, what county and state was your case in? I would like, I mean, or actually, no, don't answer that. If you, Alicia, if you have my information on top of the screen right there, please, right there, the 888-888-6582 number, just call the office, ask for me, or you can email me directly at gat@vincentwdavis.com, or you can text me at 626-631-8901. Okay? Are you referring that question to me, John? Pennsylvania? Okay, I understand. But again, just I would rather talk to you via phone, okay, and then be able to help you find an attorney in that state, and we'll go from there because I have more questions I would like to ask you. I actually got an attorney recently from um, Ohio that took one of a person was following the show last week, and I found an attorney in Ohio, and I told him I'm calling from the law office of Vincent Davis, and we're trying to help people that get a hold of us regarding helping them find attorneys and whatever the case is. I gave the attorney the information and full information, thorough information, and then he called that mother and she hired him. Now, oftentimes in other states, attorneys will not take cases if the case is chaotic, meaning if you're looking for a civil attorney, for example, and I contact that civil attorney and he will say, Georgette, email me what evidence you have. And I email him evidence, and then he sees something is missing, meaning, well, this is good, whatever the social worker wrote, but it's missing the number. We need the number. We need proof of that number. It came from that number. That's why I told you in beginning of the show, put the social worker's phone number on the first line where it asks for the name, right? And then next to it or underneath where the last name is, then you can put Nora Hernandez, supervisor, social worker, whatever her title is. Okay? That is so important, you guys. I can't emphasize that enough. And that attorney told me about all this. You guys have great evidence, but it's not effective evidence that's going to work on your case. Okay? You're very welcome, Alicia. Yes, I do, John. I have my kids. But I was like you guys. That's what you guys don't understand. The crying, not sleeping, don't understand the system, never been in it. I came from two great parents, never, literally never had any problems. And it's all because of what? Because the system is against anyone, because they're after only one thing, winning. So that's why I say to you guys, narcissistic, sociopathic system. This is government entities that are sociopathic. So you need to take care of yourself. You need to take care of your sanity. You need to put on your craziness until after you get your kids back. You can punch the wall. You can, I don't care, stab a pillow. I don't care what you do. But you can cry, but do not lose sleep. Do not eat right. Do not be medicated, because if you are not together, you can't help your children. And you can't help yourself because you're going to sound really weird. So you need to take care of you. And I always think of when you're on the plane, the flight attendant says, put the mask on you first, the adult. Then you put the mask on the child. Without you, that child is not going to be saved. So you have to take care of you so you can take care of your child. So think about that for a minute. Do not neglect your health because you need you to save your child. So if you have the right mindset, things are going to make sense to you. When you don't sleep and you don't eat right, you're going to be lost. You can't concentrate at all. You can't even process what is being told to you. Okay, that's very important. Alicia said, "Oh my God, you are a blessing to me. Thanks so much, Miss G. You are so welcome, Alicia. God bless you, sweetheart." Heather, hi Heather. Um, quick question: can you request a new gal or hired your child their own attorney instead of the? Oh, okay, I got it, got it. In state courts, Attorney Davis said you cannot hire your own attorney for the child. It has to be appointed by the state. Okay, appointed by the state. That's why oftentimes when you guys hear Attorney Davis ask, "Do you want the child back or do you want to win?" Right? You can't have both. Alicia said, "Can I please get your email and number again?" Yes, it is. I'm going to say it slowly. It is 626 631 8901. Again, 626 631 8901. My email address is GAT as in Tom at Vincent W. Davis.com. Make sure you put the W in there. A lot of people don't put the W and it doesn't come to me. So again, the email address is GAT at Vincent W. Davis.com. Thank you. Hey, Miss G, hope all is well your way. And thanks. You are so welcome, Heather. You're so sweet. So, Alicia, I hope you have that information correctly. Um, so now we discussed evidence, right? How to compile good evidence. For the love of God, good evidence. You're so welcome, love. Now, I would like you guys to answer this. Any of you guys received an email from a corrupt social worker who said to you guys that if um, if you go through with the grievance, they will keep all your kids, or if you drop the grievance, they say they're gonna you that the parent is gonna have all their kids back. Now, be careful with that information because I was told that email went to one of our clients before they hired us, and that email was not retrievable anymore. So they send an email that's encrypted. If they put something in there that they know is against the law, they can actually get sued for, right? Because that's called intimidating, right? Intimidation, coercing, that whatever you want to call it, it's wrong. They're putting pressure and threats, meaning they're threatening the mother or the father that if you don't drop the shit that you're trying to do, we will come after you harder and keep your children, right? So if you get an email like that, but I would like to hear it from other people. So far, I heard it only from 3 parents, from separate parents, different states. One from California, the other one is Oregon and New York. So I need to know if any of you guys received any type of emails from the social worker that is encrypted. Alicia, you received an email like that and you couldn't retrieve the email because it's encrypted. So once you open the email, I guess they know that you read it. And then once you read it, you can go back in the email again to retrieve the information. It's kind of weird, huh? It's kind of almost like it's like they're ghosting you. So again, I would like to know if you guys have any of that. I would love to speak with you. I have been watching you over the 3 years, Miss Gian. I love your passion. Thanks for doing this. John, I love you too, man. I love you guys so much. I swear I don't need to sit down with you and have coffee. And there's one of my girls, oh my God. Actually, two of my girls on there that watch my shows. We were supposed to hook up. They're in California, and we decided to hook up FaceTime to have coffee and whatever together, and like pastries or whatever, to be able to like FaceTime to communicate with each other. It was fun, but their schedule, my schedule, their visitation, their drug testing is conflicting with everything. But I don't need to sit down with you guys to know that I love you, because you guys are dealing with the most corrupt demonic entities on the face of the earth, and none of them are none of them care about your children. And again, the most important thing to me is the children, because without the children, the parent just the parent slowly dies inside. Their heart is in a million pieces. You can't pick up the million pieces, because you can't even find your identity. You can't even get it back, because your identity involved your children. Believe it or not, when you become a parent, your children are your everything. So no one should even no one deserves to lose their children unless they're truly, truly abusing them. And when I say abuse, man, I'm talking about physical harm, burning, cuts, keeping them starved, or leaving them home and go on vacation for 2 weeks, or the baby dies, or it's to me, that's what it is all about. But you guys that I spoke with don't deserve to lose your kids. You just don't deserve that. But they want to go after good kids from good family because they're demonic. They're evil. They're so fucking evil. They're so evil. They will fabricate everything to fit their agenda. Um, Queen said, "Hi, Queen." She said, "So are you an attorney?" Not yet. Working on it. Um, Heather said, "Well, they said they'd let me have my nephew back, but my mom would have to move, and he couldn't see his mother anymore, and I have to leave the case in the invalid jurisdiction. That the only way they said he could come home before court." Heather, I love you. I don't understand anything you just wrote. Write it. Write the question. Just question. Kisses to you too, Melanie. Alicia Hart said, "Amen. They are and always will be my identity and the reason for my living." Exactly. They become our children. Becomes everything to us. Everything. And that's why I call them demonic, because only a demon wants to separate what God gave. And I always think of this, guys. I always think God gave us children as a blessing for us, right? It's a blessing. But the devil is such a busy bee that all he wants is us to denounce God and follow him. So he creates chaos, and we are not strong enough, because we're human. We're not strong enough to understand the trickery of Satan. I didn't understand until I had to live it. And then I started asking God in my prayers to give me wisdom and knowledge of evil in front of me. I didn't ask God for lottery money, not yet. At that time, I asked him for wisdom, knowledge, and he gave it to me. Then I started asking him for the lottery money so I can help parents out there hire an attorney. He hasn't given me that, but I'm just gonna have to keep asking him for it. But wisdom, knowledge, knowing what you're dealing with is gonna help you in the transition to be above the enemy. The first thing you need to do, honestly, is to take care of yourself mentally and physically and emotionally. If you guys don't have a friend or a family member that believes you and you need support, emotional support, I have, I've been on the phone last night until 11 something at night, talking to family, crying to me, and I'm supporting them emotionally, meaning I'm giving them motivation, guiding them, helping them. That's not, I don't get paid for that. That's my own will, free time that I dedicate. When I was going through this, no one was there for me. No one, what I'm saying is, no one knew the law from the law, the law side. No one understood what's going on. Yes, I have support from family. They're the best rock I have, but that I wanted legal support, meaning the kind of support that's going to help me, right? At the time, you don't want to be babied. You want to be led the right way, the right direction. That's more important. That's why I said take care of your health. Eat right. Do not eat a bag of chips and call it a meal. Drink a lot of water. Do not drink alcohol. Do not medicate yourself in order for you to sleep. Stay away from all this because you're going to end up being addicted to something you were not addicted to before because you're trying to sleep or you're trying to whatever, whatever. That's why I never believed in drugs. I hate drugs so much. So that's why I said take care of yourselves. Do not fall. All your enemy wants you to do is fall. Once you're on your face, they will point at you and say you're crazy and that they were right all along. They knew it all along that you're crazy, but yet they're inflicting pain on you, right? And then they get your reaction and then call you crazy. So, um, Queen said, I have a really corrupt case and desperately need help from an attorney from another state. Okay, Queen, you have my information. Um, Contact me. Text me at 626-631-8901. But please use your full legal name, guys. Okay? Oh, wait, I have it. Wait a minute. Hold on, Queen. Hold on, baby. Blind as a bat. Jeez, hold on. I think I have your info because I remember the screen name. I think. Okay, well, just text me if you have it. Text me again. At 626-631-8901, or you can email me at gat@vincentwdavis.com. Demetria says, the long drawn out process has turned my son, which I am fighting for, against me. Who knows, who knows in what ways that has been coerced to believe that he has been coerced to believe. I have been sober and sound mind always. So it seems too late because they have my now 17-year-old where they want him against me. He went to CPS when he was 14. I asked them to help because at the time I was homeless. Oh my gosh. I did every service they ever asked me to do. In the beginning, my son turned on me and they let him. Oh my God. Um, I'm glad you actually said that because that's something I need to address as well. When you guys go for help because you're homeless, oftentimes I hear parents tell me, Miss G, I was at DPSS office trying to get food stamps and cash aid or Medi-Cal because I lost my job. They laid me off. I couldn't find a job right away. And DPSS recommends the following for you guys to get help, like go to, like, for example, go to a shelter and stay there because that's the fastest way to get Section 8 approved. Example, right? Or you get advice as, yeah, call the police. You know, I don't understand why they would even say that, but these are information that I'm getting from so many people I speak with. Again, these people, that parents I speak with, they're not from the same counties at all. They don't know each other. So again, I don't know if that information is true or not, but that's what I heard. That's what I heard. If you have anyone that gives you that type of advice, do not take that advice. It's wrong. It's wrong. If you have friends, at times like this, you know who your friends are. Why am I saying this? Is because a friend will take you and your son in until you're on your feet again, especially if you have children, minors. If you have family in another state, contact your family and ask them to help you. Maybe go to that state for their support and maybe find a job there. There's so much better ways to get help, because the first thing the social workers are going to do, they're going to say to your son, oh, we're going to give you an iPad, we're going to give you an iPhone, we're going to do this, you're going to have money for clothes every month, you're going to blah 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 blah. And your son is like, damn, I don't get that with my dad, let me go with them. He's a child, that doesn't mean he doesn't love you. Then the social workers are like, well, you're only going to be here temporarily, and then your dad, until your dad gets, stands up on his own 2 feet, all that stuff, then you'll go back to your dad. But meanwhile, in that transition, the social workers are saying, well, Your Honor, the child doesn't want to go back to the father. The child said this about the dad. The child said that. You don't know what your son or daughter said. You're only going by what the social worker is saying. They could also go to your son and say, your dad is uh, works for the mafia, or your dad killed somebody. They make the child think their dad or their mom are criminals, right? You don't know the whole story, but I spoke to kids who grew in the system, grew out of the system, and they all told me the same thing. And I tell you this because none of them know each other. Again, they're from different counties, different ages. They were all told that their parents did something so horrible. Or if the kids are younger, then they would say, your mom doesn't want to see you today. Your dad refused to come to the visits today. Every visitation is canceled by the foster parent or the social workers. Blame it on the parent that the parent didn't want to see the child, the parent didn't show up. So you don't know the whole situation, but I guarantee you that's what's going on. They are very demonic. They are yeah, they're ruthless. You're absolutely right. Queenie, I think that's his game over. I want coffee. She said, thank you, sister, for the supportive questions. Someone called ACS on me. I believe it was my son's father. Yep, the ex. I do not know why. It's going to be unfounded, but same struggle of going through process sex. What makes you think it's going to be unfounded? Um, no, that's not true. And depending on the child age, do not think that the father will get that child either, unless he's sleeping with a district attorney, or, you know, cheating with a social worker or a supervisor or a judge or a court appointed attorney. He doesn't have a fat chance. Um, Oh, let me add this. Also, fathers like that who do this to their sons or the children's mom because of whatever, to avoid child support or whatever the case may be, are usually anyone that will do that are the abusers, and I call them narcissists because only a narcissist will do that. Alicia Hart said, after losing my rights in 2021, I am constantly investigating and finding out different laws that were broken, and I am still learning. Yeah. And the problem is, we shouldn't be learning on our own. Like, for example, like, uh, yes, we should be learning, but I just wish you guys get the information from the right people, the right law firms, and not get it from online, not get it from Google, not get it from other people online, whatever social media. Do not get it from the wrong attorneys who don't know anything about CPS at all. It's better to get the knowledge right away because CPS, the minute they come to your door, they're already 200 steps ahead of you. They know where the baby's going to stay or the children are going to stay. They know which home wants to adopt them. They know everything before the investigation even took place. I told you guys before, there's two different homes. There's a placement there's a placement foster home. The second one is an adoptive foster home. The adoptive foster home is supposedly the easiest and the cheapest way to adopt. So when they ask him in the paperwork, why, uh, why you are foster parent? I want to adopt. What kind of child do you want to adopt? What age of the child do you want to adopt? Believe it or not, that's what they do. Then they will say, okay, I want an infant. I want a 3 months old. I want a newborn, or I want a 3 year old. I want a 2 year old, a 1 year old. It doesn't matter. Whatever they want, they write it down. When the supervisor has a sniff of what type of baby was born, for example, the foster parents that wants to adopt could say, I want an Indian tribe, from an Indian tribe child. I want a African American child. I want a Caucasian child with blonde hair, blue eyes. I would like to have a mixed child. Whatever the case may be, I would like to have a boy. I would like to have a girl, both. Then, as soon as they find that, the social workers, the demons, they lurk. Then they say, oh, yeah, the supervisor would say, uh, put that child in so and so's home because they're looking for that child. Believe it or not, they don't operate in a um, remorseful ways. They literally lack remorse. They lack consciousness. They don't have a conscience. Because if you have a conscience, you would not be able to sleep at night knowing that you did this to a family. But they sleep at night. They eat, they drink, they go out to parties with each other, right? Nothing fazes them. So if you don't have a conscience, you're going to hurt others and you literally don't care. So when I see social workers go into somebody's home to remove their children illegally, while the mother's on the floor pleading, do not take my kids, right? The social workers laugh at that mom. They laugh at her, degrade her, literally letting her know that they can do whatever they want. This happens all the time. They literally make sure that your child is not with you to break the mom first. And then the father has to fight for his child. And I love it when they just, and I don't say that like, literally being sarcastic. I just love it when they say to the father, leave the house. You guys should not be together. But why? There was no domestic violence. Why can't I be with my wife? Right? There was no domestic violence. Then they make up allegations and say, oh yeah, there was a domestic violence like 2 years ago. The father's like, no, that's not true. But what the social workers put on the court documents is, Your Honor, there was a domestic violence with this man 2 years ago. I swear I'm not joking, you guys. I know for a fact one of our clients did not have domestic violence because the records were clean. Never police been called, nothing ever happened like that. But the social worker wrote that this client of ours had a domestic violence against him 2 years ago. And that's why he said the social worker told him to leave the home. They divided the family. So dad is there, mom is here, and the child is in between lingering somewhere, right? So they broke the family, and that's how they win. You have to break the family. Father is the protector. If you guys are together, oftentimes the father are the protectors of the family, right? That's why it's so important to have the right setting of family. Why? Because you want your children to grow up with both parents. Very important. And it's important for you guys to understand that they want to divide to conquer. Conquering, right? You succeed with conquering when you divide. Divide, divide and conquer, divide and conquer. They're like a gossip cult, right? They have to uh you know how you hear people say it's worse when you gossip about innocent people, right? Because you're literally um hindering their name. Like you literally like setting them up for everyone to think that's who they are, right? when you gossip when you gossip about someone and literally lie about them, it's like tearing up a piece of paper. uh, I'll give you guys an example. So here's this piece of paper, right? So you guys like this, a million pieces, right? Like this, and then you can do the rest again like this. So it becomes all this, right? And then you throw it, you just toss it around. So it's going to go, every piece is going to go everywhere, right? It's going to be scattered everywhere. That's what people do. So that's what the department does. They literally write the worst things about you in the reports. So it becomes like this, right? So the judges take their recommendation. Why? Right? Because without the social workers stealing your child, um, the judges are not going to have a job. They're not going to have that power. That's why every court appointed attorney wants one thing: to become a judge. Okay? That is very, what's not true? Let's see. Alicia, after Alicia said, after losing my rights in 2021, I am constantly investigating and finding out different laws that, yeah. Okay. I want coffee said, my son lives with him. My son is 18. I would never keep him away from his father. My son wanted to go live with him, so I let him. My daughter has a different father, and my son's father called ACS on me. Unbelievable. I didn't even know what to say, but they're so narcissistic. So narcissistic. For no reason, my daughter doing great. My son father salty, salty, cause I got married. Oh, because you got married. Got it. Okay. Alicia said the adoptive mom asked for a multiple. I'm sorry. Oh, wait. Let me see if I'm reading that right. The adoptive mom asked for multiples before DHE, or before the gained foster care with my twins 2 years prior. She miscarried with twins. Okay, I don't understand that, Alicia. I'm so sorry, love. Queen said, will you give me that number one more time? Sure. It's 626 631 8901. 626 631 8901. Um, I Want Coffee said, crazy. I came across this live. The system definitely to set up to break families apart, and I would not wish this process on anyone. Exactly. Amen. I think so, but not true. I don't know what you're referring to, John. Um, Demetrius said that's sad but true in Randolph County, New York, North Carolina too. It's everywhere, honey. Demetrius is everywhere. John, what are you referring to, love? Is it something that I said earlier? I didn't pay attention to this your comment until now. Was it something I said earlier that you disagree with? And I'm not saying all dads are deadbeat dads. I'm not saying all dads are narcissistic. But again, I just want you guys to understand that there's good and bad in everyone, men and women. Okay? So all I'm saying is that choose your partner wisely. Choose who you want to have kids wisely. Believe me, we all make mistakes. I'm one of them. Literally made mistake like that. If they're not tuned with God, they will never honor you. But see how their relationship is with their creator first. Meaning, do they have a relationship with God? It's not about going to church every Sunday, but even if they go to church twice a month or once a month, right? Who do they love most in life? Do they love money most? Do they love fame and power most? You have to see how they interact in the world. I know finding a partner nowadays is like, he loves me. It's not about love. It really isn't. It's not about love. First, you have to see who they love more. Who they love more. If they say that they love God more, their God is number one, then they will honor you and respect you. Okay? I mean, I don't know how to explain it to you guys, but find the right partner to have children with. That's so important. Um, Demetra said that's sad but true. In wrong. Okay, I think I read that. Am I reading? Let's see. Aaron Coffee said New York is the worst. You guys, it's everywhere. I could say LA County is the worst. Actually, in LA County, they have a lot of CPS offices. Man, they have. Ooh, CPS social workers drive Teslas here, baby. Teslas. Okay? BMWs, like we're talking about the new models. We're not talking about an old BMW. No, baby. They're driving brand new 2024 with all the works, red seats and all the works. Seen it, seen it, seen it. The adoptive mom miscarried with twins 2 years prior to gaining foster care with my twins. She asked for multiple. See? So now I understand. So the foster parent requested twins. Do you see that? Twins is so on high recommend right now. Recommendation. I mean, on high demand right now, especially if your twins are boy and a girl. If your twins are a boy and a girl, oh my God, that's perfect. That's a lot of foster parents ask for that. Believe me, it's the truth. Now I understand, Alicia. Um, I Want Coffee said facts. Thank you. I Want Coffee said 100. Yes, thank you. And then I Want Coffee said they're making big money of our tax dollars. Yes. The federal tax increased recently. If you guys notice, look at your paychecks. The federal tax increased recently. You pay with your hard earned money federal tax. Then at the end of the year, at the end of the year, they make it so hard for you to get a tax return. Yeah. Then you end up finding yourself paying more taxes. So your hard earned money, you pay throughout the year with the money you're making. Then they charge you more money. It doesn't make sense to me how this world is. God, I think of that movie, Olympus Has Fallen. I always see America as falling, and it's been falling for a while, but slowly, because the system is designed. And I hate to say this, the way it looks, uh, Child Protective Services is designed to literally fail us as parents. If you guys see what's going on right now, it's about how much money you have, who you know, who you don't know that has the power um, over your kids and how you raise your children. And it's unfortunate, but that's just the way it goes. Um, so I want you guys to wise up. Again, if you guys need to get a hold of me, you can reach me at 626-631-8901. If you guys would like to be on my show and share your story, um, you're more than welcome to. Also, email me your information and just let me know at gat@vincentwdavis.com. I will see you guys tomorrow. Tomorrow's show is going to, oh, there is no, wait a minute. Today's Tuesday. Yeah, I don't have a show tomorrow, but I do have a show on Thursday. Thursday at 1:30, same time. 1:30 Pacific Standard Time is Fight CPS Real Talk with Miss G. That's where I want you guys to be on the show. And I want to do some real talk. So real talk literally is more like you think this is real talk, but real talk is like getting to the depth, more. Uh, just subscribe. Thank you, baby. So if you guys want to share your story without sharing your real name or sharing the state, you're trying to, kind of, you don't need to share everything. It's in the United States. Period. That's it. That's all you need to say. You're more than welcome to be on the show. And if you have anything to say, please share it with everyone that will benefit from what you experienced in your case. So that way other parents can be aware, hey, maybe I shouldn't do that. Or maybe I shouldn't talk to them like that. Or maybe I shouldn't share too much with them. Because if you guys watch my previous shows with Attorney Jennifer Ani was me, Attorney Jennifer Ani, and Vincent Davis. And I love her so much. She's my, that woman is awesome. Awesome. Um, I don't even call her a friend anymore. She's like a sister to me. She's awesome. And she said, listen more and speak less. Right? So if they ask you a question, your answer is no. If they want you, they try to trigger you to explain more, let your yes be yes and your no be no, and that's it. Listen more and speak less. Oftentimes we don't listen at all and we start diarrhea in the mouth everywhere. You don't want diarrhea in your mouth. Actually, you don't want diarrhea anywhere in your world. You want to be at a sound mind. You can understand the question, right? And you have the wisdom and the courage to know when to say less. That's why I said take care of yourselves. Because without you, your children will not survive. You are important to them, believe it or not. Every child that grew out of the system, I wish to God I had the money, Bill Gates money, right? Wealth, that I can just get a mansion and get all the parents and the children together. And each will have their own little house, like your own little, you know, I don't know, small house or something where they don't have to pay rent, they don't have to do anything. All they have to do is just take care of their children and raise them and be there for them. I wish that's my biggest dream. And I've had that wish for a long time, and I guess maybe I'm thinking or wishing too big, but that's my biggest wish, is to be able to bring families together and be able to even spend on them, right? Like kind of like give them the opportunity to be parents without worrying about a job is going to fire them, or somebody is after them, or they can't afford rent and all that stuff. I want to be able to help families, and even though my friend keeps saying, keep pushing for God to help me or to win the lottery. I don't know how much, but it's in my heart, and I keep thinking about it because I know the more, whatever you feel in your heart, whatever you speak out loud, it will come to it will come to it will come to surface in your life. It will come to existence. You're gonna make it happen. Okay, so again, that's my biggest wish. So I will see you guys on Thursday. God bless you. Love you all. See you soon.